Here's the introductory lesson to gases that we did on August 27th, 2020. Here's some properties of gases. Gases fill up their volume and shape, as you can see in C. What we have is the gas filling up this triangle shape. And that's what happens when perfume is sprayed in the air. It goes everywhere. Gases have mass, which means they're a state of matter, and they're less dense than solids and liquids, so that's why they float above their solid and their liquid, although some gases sink. For example, carbon dioxide balloons fall through the air, and helium balloons rise in air. All gases have the same pressure at the same temperature mostly. That is, it doesn't matter what gas we're observing. The pressure of a gas at a certain temperature is the same regardless of the type of gas it is. And finally, gases are fluids. They flow. And this means that you can spray carbon dioxide across a flame, and that carbon dioxide will act like a liquid and flow and put out the flame wherever it is. Gases are measurable. There are 4 quantities that we use to measure gases. There is volume, which has a variable v, which is the practice that algebra teachers tell you to do, is use a variable that tells you something about what you're using. It can be in units of liters and milliliters, and we will be using liters. There's pressure, and it has units of atmosphere. An atmosphere is the weight of gas pressing down on you. If you were at a sea level, that's how much air would be pressing down on you, is 1 atmosphere. And kilopascals is about 100 times bigger number, same amount, but 100 times bigger number, and uses meters and grams to kilograms, which are standard units. The temperature is variable T. It uses degrees Celsius. A degree sign on a Macintosh computer is a shift option 8, and you can find that under symbols in Google. And then there's Kelvin. The 2 values are related to each other by 273. So if you increase the Celsius by 10, the Kelvin would go up by 10. The lowest value for Kelvin is 0, which means you have to drop 273 for Celsius. And then finally, the amount of gas is measured in moles, and we use the symbol N, or the variable N, to do that. And a mole is a lot of particles. If you had 10 moles, that would be a trillion times. Now, a trillion, there's no trillionaires in the world, so it's a whole lot of money. But then you're doing it a trillion more times, so completely unimaginable number. And it represents the total number of particles that you have. We use this kinetic molecular theory to think about what's happening with gases, and it's based on physics. So first we assume that all gases are traveling randomly and constantly, which means they're not like a school of fish that swims in a circle or goes in a straight line. Instead, what it is just random. So in my picture over here, I have different directions, random, and I have different speeds, random. So random and constant motion. Any pressure that a container experiences is simply due to collisions of the particles against the walls of the container. So all the particles on the inside of the balloon are not acting to keep the balloon open and push on it from the inside. Only the particles that are colliding with the walls are providing that force to push a balloon open. All particles are very, very small and don't interact with each other. By interact, I mean there's no reaction or there's no condensation happening for them to come together. And so those particles are always there. They're never getting disappeared. Also, they have to be very, very small because even if I use larger molecules, they act in the same way. And so even these large molecules or chains of atoms must be acting the same way as small atomic particles are. And finally, a temperature measurement. So imagine taking the temperature of the room with the thermometer. That only measures an average value. It doesn't measure the actual value. So temperature is an average of what all the particles are doing. We use the term heat when referring to all the energy and not an average. As an aside, in order to discuss gases and make conclusions about why they have a certain temperature, volume, or pressure, what we need to do is talk about collisions. So if I change temperature and make those particles go faster, I end up having more collisions. So low temperature, high temperature. If I change the volume, I can change the size in which the particles are moving. So if I shrink that, I'll have more collisions because the walls are closer together. Or I could expand it, and now that the walls are farther apart, it takes longer for the particles to get there, and I have fewer collisions. And finally, of course, putting in more particles increases the collisions. You can think of this as water falling on a tin roof. So you can hear a little bit of rain. There's very little pressure. You can hear a lot of rain, and there's lots of pressure. The more particles you have, the more collisions there are. So we can put all this together in a mathematical formula known as the ideal gas law. So the ideal gas law is simplified to a formula. So here I have a formula presenting the four conditions we talked about prior to this, that a gas can have pressure, it can have volume, it can have the number of particles, and it can have temperature. Now there's also an R factor that we're going to talk about. Here's the pressure. Pressure can only be in atmospheres or kilopascals. The volume can only be in liters. So you're going to have to convert milliliters by knowing that 1,000 milliliters equals 1 liter. That means that 500 milliliters would equal half a liter. Moles is the amount of particles. I'll give it to you. Usually it'll be 20 or 0.002, not trillions. So you can work with that. And then temperature will be in Kelvin. And so we'll always have to move Celsius values up by adding 273 to all Celsius values. If you take this PV equation and you move the N to the other side, I don't know, having problems, and you move the T to the other side, ugh. So we're going to get rid of them over on this side. Then what you're left with is R. So R is always the same. It's a ratio of P and V, product, over N and T. And that ratio will always equal R. So let's say we have a gigantic pressure, then we probably have a small volume, we have a certain number of particles, we have maybe a high temperature. When I put that ratio together, I get R. What if I have a low pressure and a small container? Then the temperature is really small, or maybe I don't have very many particles. When I put all that together, I end up with R. So R is always going to be the same no matter what conditions I have for a gas. I'm always going to have exactly the same conditions, always end up with the same R, and that's why it's constant. On the worksheet on the far right at the bottom are the two R values that we will be using. They differ by one being in atmospheres and the other one being in kilopascals. We're going to talk about these three relationships really quick. If temperature increases, I get more collisions and therefore pressure increases. Here's the formula. If pressure is increasing on a container, what will happen to its volume? Its volume will decrease. When I press on the container from the outside, the inside responds by also having a larger pressure. That's why it keeps you from crushing it even more. And so as pressure goes up on the inside, that means the volume has decreased. We can talk about these relationships in terms of direct and indirect, which you were introduced to in the simulation. Here we have two things working in opposite directions: larger pressure, smaller volume. And on number one, we have two things working in the same direction. The pressure goes up and the temperature goes up and the pressure goes up. In number three, if I look at the formula, we're going to talk about a way to make the judgment about whether this happens based on the formula. But right now, let's say the temperature is going up, but the collisions have to stay the same. So the particles are going much faster, but somehow I have to get the collisions to be the same. Do I need to increase the volume or decrease the volume? Okay, so what I need to do is increase the volume so it takes longer for the particles to hit the sides. And so even if the particles go faster, if I move the container to a wider container, then the number of collisions will be the same. So this is the same. So it turns out, if you look at the formula for a little bit, if the two values in blue are on opposite sides of the equation, they're going to do the same thing. So temperature and volume goes up. Or number one, the pressure and temperature goes up. If the two values are on the same side, in number two, in the formula, pressure and volume are on the same side, then the answer will be that they're acting in an inverse relationship. So the two relationships are direct, where they change in the same direction, and inverse, where they change in opposite directions. So our example of direct will be increased temperature, increased pressure. It'll be what we just wrote in number one. And our inverse example will be what's happening in number two. As the pressure increases, the volume goes down. Or as the volume goes down, the pressure increases. So you need to fill this in. I'm going to talk about the first one, but I am going to leave the rest of them undone. If I make my volume much larger and I keep the temperature and the moles the same. So why those two? So if I look at my formula, here's volume, right? And here's pressure. So those are the two that I'm talking about. The things that have to stay the same are these two. These two will have to stay the same. Moles, or number of particles, and temperature have to stay the same, because I only want to look at what's happening with pressure and volume. So in order for me to only look at those two, the moles and the temperature have to stay the same. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of that. So whatever, if you're using two of them, let's switch to the other one. Let's look here at temperature. If I'm looking at temperature and I'm looking at volume, then the things that have to stay the same are N and P. Those two have to stay the same because I want to pay attention to volume and temperature. So the things that stay the same are pressure and moles. Okay. So if the volume gets bigger, it's going to get wider. What's happening with collisions? there are fewer because they have to travel farther. So what will happen with pressure? The pressure has to go down. And then if I reverse that, if I make my volume smaller, now the particles don't travel so far, I get more collisions, and so now I have a higher pressure. Okay, that was the lecture that we gave on the 27th about gases, and so you can fill in the whole thing. We'll do a demo tomorrow.